Welcome back to the Vintage Firearm series. Today we have a Savage Stevens Model 58B. This was it's an interesting firearm. It was made from 33 to 45, so a mere 12 years, and they made less than 30,000 of them. Most of them didn't get used that much, and we'll probably go through a couple of possible reasons for that. It's a 410, and it has a clip that will hold 3. So you can put 3 in it and 1 in the chamber, if you can get them back in. This is one of the things that I found about this style. They're a bit clunky, and that's the way they work. The more you use them, they would likely get better. But certainly they're a very inexpensive vintage firearm. So if you wanted to get into a vintage firearm, this might be an interesting way to do it. It's about a $200 gun, give or take some. The ammo, being 410, is a little bit pricey, but it really depends on how much you're planning on shooting. I think the problem they had with it when they were trying to market this is side-by-sides were still quite popular. Now, side-by-sides are going to be a lot more now or then, but a side-by-side had a lot of advantage over this. And I think the main advantages would be, of course, is that when you're walking through the woods with this and you're walking with somebody, you can probably look here and tell left or right that the action is open. But you have to look a little bit if you're from the left-hand side, assuming that you have a gun made for the right-hand side. And I'm not sure they made any lefties for this. But with a side-by-side, when it's open, and you're walking through the woods and you've got it broken on your arm or hanging on your shoulder, there's never any question. Everybody knows that. They could be 200 feet away from you and they would know. So I think that would be one of the advantages to me. And the other thing, a side-by-side, is nothing works as smooth as a side-by-side. Okay, I'm going to get some feedback from that, but think about it before you kind of hammer on me. And I love pump shotguns. I love, every kind of shotgun you can think of. I love them all. I love this one. But you have to realize that when all you have to do is, when you get ready, is snap it together, bring it up, pull off the safety, and then you're good to go. If you've got 2 triggers, depending on how that's set up, you might have to do a little reconfiguring. For instance, the superposed and other models, you have to bring them back, cross them over, then bring them over. But that gets natural after a little bit. I love the double barrel, double trigger. That's my personal preference. I've used it the most. And my finger just floats from one to the other very quickly. So I don't have any problem with that at all. If the safety's off, it's off. Safety's on, it's on. And nothing works quicker than a side-by-side, especially in the 20 gauge. That one sitting right there, that's a LC Smith. The one in the middle is an LC Smith. And we'll bring it down for a second. We're definitely going to do a review on that in the due process of time. This is a remarkable gun, and I've always said, now this is a 20 gauge, but I would say, honestly, this is easier to shoot than that 410. And it shouldn't be that way. That 410 should just float. But I find those do not. And so, but on the other hand, you can't buy this for $200. And these are remarkable guns. But say, if you're walking through the woods and you've got it braced over your arm like that, or maybe you got it like this, everybody knows You can be hundreds of feet away. They know that gun's safe. They're not even worried about it. You can have them sitting in the chamber. It doesn't matter. It's a good place to keep them. They're handy because it's not going to go off. So that's just my thought on it. But I love them all. I wouldn't, sometimes you just feel like playing with something that's a little different. I mean, I love bolt action. A bolt action 22 is kind of a very cool gun to have. I have a few of those and I love them. But they're also good for making you a better shot. And this would be true with that too. But so would a side-by-side, because or a single barrel. I mean, a single barrel is great too. You walk in and you realize you're going to have to break that open and put another shell in after you miss. You're going to try not to miss. And I've been doing some conversations, if you will. I won't call them reviews. I'm not qualified to do reviews, so I'm not going to call them that. I shouldn't call them that. But, it's all about what you feel comfortable with, and more importantly, even what you use. Some safeties are forward like this one, some are back. That's a little disturbing to me. But, so you have to refamiliarize yourself with the gun when you go out. But this clip will hold 3. And of course you can put one in the chamber. You could even put one in the chamber and keep it there with the bolt open, I would think. I might keep it like that or something. That would be pretty safe, I would guess. So you could have, in theory, 4 shots. But to be honest with you, if you're not going to do it in 1 or maybe 2, you probably need to practice more. Now, with the 410, the ammo is going to be more expensive. You get into a 20 gauge or a 12 gauge, that ammo gets pretty cheap, and there's a lot of it, especially in 12 gauge. The selection of shotgun shells in 12 gauge is remarkable. I mean, it's just, you walk into any place, a small hardware store, and some communities still sell shotgun shells, and that, or a small time gun store, something like that. And so, you can go ahead and do quite a bit. Let's load this up. Now, the Stevens, Savage Stevens, whichever you prefer, they were modestly priced guns. But you could go ahead and buy one now or then. And like I said, $200 is not a lot of money. You can get a single barrel shotgun for $100. I did that recently at a gun show. This is going to cost you $200, maybe a tad bit more. But they're in good shape because they weren't used that much. Because as soon as the guy got to shooting a little bit, he probably bought himself a pump shotgun or a side-by-side or something like that, something that was a little easier. Put that down so I can really... it's not a bad gun, actually. It's just not going to be equal to that of a side-by-side, but nor is the price. Because if you're going to buy a side-by-side, I'm trying to think of what you're going to pay for one, really. I'm trying to think of examples in my head. And, honestly, an L.C. Smith like that is going to be like $1,500. And so, but you can probably pick one up for $500, $600, $700, but it won't be that quality. So you really can't compare the two. So you could certainly understand why somebody would pick this up for a couple of $100, give or take. I think we're going to have a good time with this. I'm going to go outside. We're going to put some targets down, not too far away, and we'll go ahead and fire off a few shots. I hope you're going to have as good a time with it as I am, because I think I'm really going to enjoy myself. Like I say, I've only fired this kind of gun a couple times. You take it easy, and I'm going to see you outside in just a second. Here we are outside. I'm going to load her up and see what we can do. It's a little clip right here. You pull it, comes straight out. Load up our 3 shots. Okay, get our gun. Make sure it's on safe. That will, in this particular model, that will lock the bolt from opening. A great design, especially for someone who doesn't have a lot of experience in shooting. Okay, so what we're going to do is press it right down against that clip. Goes right in, snaps in pretty easy. You got to know exactly how to do it, otherwise it will be a pain. We're going to go ahead. I've got a little bean can down there. See if I can get over on this side so I don't get in your way. I want to take it off safety here. Okay. It should be over on this side. This is the way I'm used to working. Like I said, a little clunky, but maybe with time. Okay, and then hopefully, it's hard for me to see, but hopefully that's in the thing. I'd say that was a fair shot. Hopefully you got it. I think it's kind of stuck down in the weeds there. So there we have it. I'd say it's fairly accurate. You know, with a 410, I think I checked this early, it's modified as far as the choke. I should have had that on to show you how to do that for those people who don't know. But overall, that's a good gun. I have a 12 gauge, and I can't make that one work for the life of me. And I don't know whether it's the clip that's bad or what. And but this, I mean, I'd actually kind of like a 12 gauge. This gave a pretty good amount of ammo just where you needed it. The bean can is relatively small. It's now about 45 feet away, and I shoot here all the time, so I can pretty much judge that. It's about 45 feet away, and it, you know, made it go, especially when it was sitting on top of that little rock there. I got a little rock that I set things on that really made it go flying. I hope you have found this interesting. When you look at a gun like this for $200, give or take some, I don't think you should run by it too quickly. And like I say, if you look at the bottom of the clip and everything, you can see that that's had very, very, very little use. It's got some scrapes on it here and there, but I think that's mostly from storage. And you can see that the trigger right around here, the trigger guard here, but the interesting thing about it is the kind of things I look for. I don't know if it makes any sense to anyone else, but you look inside the trigger guard and it's not worn there. So I'm going to go so far as to say this was shot very little. We have some scrapes up here again from storage. And I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of the little series. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And hopefully you can enjoy whatever I dig up out of the great abyss and decide to do a review on. Thank you so very much. I've really enjoyed doing this. It was a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to continuing this series. And I hope you will enjoy it as well. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye now.